Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With permission, I'll update the House on my visit last week to China and Japan, where we delivered for the British people. Mr. Speaker, with events overseas directly impacting on our security and the cost of living, I made it a founding principle of this government that after years of isolationism, Britain would face outwards once again. This was an 18-month strategy to rebuild our standing, and we have delivered, strengthening our US relationship with our world-first trade deal, resetting our relationship with the EU, striking a groundbreaking FTA with India, and now thawing our ties with China to put this relationship on a more stable footing for the long term. Mr. Speaker, China is the second biggest economy in the world, including Hong Kong. It's our third biggest trading partner, supporting 370,000 British jobs, and it is an undeniable presence in global affairs. It would be impossible to safeguard our national interests without engaging with this geopolitical reality. Yet we inherited a policy from the previous government, not of engagement with China, but hiding away and sticking their heads in the sand. While our allies developed a more sophisticated approach, they let the UK fall behind. We became an outlier. Of my three predecessors, none held a single meeting with President Xi. For 8 years, no British Prime Minister visited China. 8 years of missed opportunities. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, over that period, President Macron visited China 3 times, German leaders 4 times, the Canadian Prime Minister was there a few weeks ago, Chancellor Merz and President Trump are both due to visit shortly. In this context, refusing to engage would be a derelict.
Order! Mr. Klugendart, you will be withdrawing that remark. You will withdraw it. Thank you. Can we calm it down, because I'm sure you'll be wanting to catch my eye. And I would like to hear what you're going to say, so let's not ruin the opportunity. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in this context, refusing to engage would be a dereliction of duty, leaving British interests on the sideline. And incredibly, some in this House still advocate that approach. But, Mr. Speaker, leaders do not hide. Instead, we engage. And we do so on our own terms, because, like our allies, we understand that engagement makes us stronger. Mr. Speaker, protecting our national security is non-negotiable. We're clear-eyed about the threats coming from China in that regard, and we will never waver in our efforts to keep the British people safe. That is why we've given our security services the updated powers and tools that they need to tackle foreign espionage activity wherever they find it, and tackle malicious cyber activity as well. But the fact is, Mr. Speaker, we can do 2 things at once. We can protect ourselves whilst also finding ways to cooperate. And it was in that spirit that we made this visit. I had extensive discussions over many hours with President Xi, Premier Li and other senior leaders. The discussions were positive and constructive. We covered the full range of issues, from strategic stability to trade and investment, opening a direct channel of communication to deliver in the national interest, enabling us to raise frank concerns about activities that impact our national security at the most senior levels of the Chinese system. We agreed to intensify dialogue on cyber issues, and we agreed a new partnership on climate and nature, providing much-needed global leadership on this vital issue. And, Mr. Speaker, I raised a number of areas of difference which matter deeply to this country. I raised the case of Jimmy Lai and called for his release, making clear the strength of feeling in this House. Those discussions will continue. And my right honourable friend, the Foreign Secretary, is in touch with Mr Lai's family to provide further briefing. I raised our human rights concerns in Xinjiang and Tibet. We discussed Taiwan, wider regional stability, Iran and the Middle East. I called on China to end economic support for Russia's war effort, including companies providing dual-use technologies. And I urged them to use their influence on Putin to push for the much-needed ceasefire in Ukraine. And, Mr. Speaker, I also raised the fact that members of this House have been sanctioned by the Chinese authorities. In response, the Chinese have now made it clear that all such restrictions on parliamentarians no longer apply. And I want to be clear, this was not the result of a trade.
Exactly.
Yes, members will want to see more, I understand that. But that is precisely the point. Ignoring China for 8 years achieved nothing. This step is an early indication, not the sum total, of the kind of progress that this sort of engagement can achieve through leader-to-leader discussion on sensitive issues to stand up for British interests. Mr. Speaker, my visit was also about creating new opportunities for British businesses to deliver jobs and growth for the British people. We took with us a brilliant delegation of nearly 60 businesses and cultural powerhouses, the very best of British, as an embodiment of what this country has to offer. If anyone's in doubt as to why this matters, I urge them to spend a few minutes with any one of those businesses. They will tell you about the incredible potential there and the importance of getting out there and accessing the market. And we made significant progress, paving the way to open the Chinese market for British exports, including our world-leading services sector. We secured a 30-day visa-free travel for all Brits, including business travellers. We secured China's agreement to halve whisky tariffs from 10% to 5%. This is worth £250 million to the UK over the next 5 years. A significant win for our iconic whisky industry, particularly in Scotland. And, Mr. Speaker, that lower tariff comes into force today. In total, we secured £2.3 billion in market access wins, including for financial services, £2.2 billion in export deals for British companies, and hundreds of millions worth of new investments. In addition, Mr. Speaker, we agreed to work together in some key areas of law enforcement. Last year, around 60% of all small boat engines used by smuggling gangs came from China. So we struck a border security pact to enable joint law enforcement action to disrupt that supply at source. We also agreed to scale up removals of those with no right to be in the United Kingdom and to work together to crack down on the supply of synthetic opioids. We will continue to develop our work across all these areas because, Mr. Speaker, this is the start of the process, not the end of it. My visit was not just about coming back with these agreements. It was about the wider question of setting this relationship on a better path, which allows us to deal with issues and seize opportunities in a way that the previous government failed to do. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let me say a word about my meetings in Tokyo. Japan remains one of our closest allies. Together, we're the leading economies in the CPTPP, partners in the G7, the G20, and the Coalition of the Willing. And they are the UK's largest inward investor outside the United States and Europe. So I had an extremely productive meeting with the Prime Minister as we set out our shared priorities to build an even deeper partnership in the years to come. That includes working together for peace and security, supporting Ukraine as we work for a just and lasting peace, and deepening our cooperation in cutting-edge defence production, including through GCAP. We discussed how we can boost growth and economic resilience by developing our cooperation, first in tech and innovation, where we are both leaders, second in energy, where Japan is a major investor in the UK, and third in trade, where we're working together to maintain the openness and stability that our businesses depend on. That includes expanding the CPTPP and deepening its cooperation with the EU. We will take all of this forward, Mr. Speaker, when I welcome the Prime Minister to Chequers later this year. So, Mr. Speaker, this is Britain back at the top table at last, facing outward, replacing incoherence and isolationism with pragmatic engagement, replacing naive posturing with the national interest. In dangerous times, we're using our full strength and reach on the world stage to deliver growth and security for the British people, and I commend this statement to the House.